It's a football Saturday in the SEC. Here is the starting lineup. The man with the golden voice, sports savant, Keefer. One of Birmingham's all-time most multi-talented, iconic broadcasters, Tourney Curry. Four-time champion Paul Feinbaum show caller contributor, the legend. The illustrious First Lady of SEC football, Terry Quillian. Award-winning national sports handicapper from Las Vegas, Keefer. And now, let's talk football.
Welcome back to a very special Selection Saturday. Tomorrow's Selection Sunday. We call it Selection Saturday here on ABC 3340. Kip Keefer and Tony Curry.
Tournament time.
It is tournament time. The 86th NCAA tournament is getting ready to go. We got tournaments, of course, going on all weekend long, including tomorrow. Bracket's going to be filled out. We'll have our playing games, and it won't be too long now before we, of course, expand our tournament. That will be happening this year, probably next year, and then maybe even more so after that. But a fantastic year, and what a monster year for the SEC.
You know, Tony, we talked about it last week. What disturbs me is right now the committee is putting together their brackets. They're not even watching the tournament games. In my opinion, the tournament games is just a fundraiser for the conferences. I love it. I like all 16 SEC teams. We're in Nashville starting on Wednesday night. And, of course, it's getting whittled down now. But I love the excitement of that, everybody in the same place, in the same town, playing a tournament. But I don't think the committee really pays much attention. I think by tomorrow morning, they pretty much know who's going to be where, and they don't even pay attention to who wins these things.
Well, we know no team has ever won a national title after losing the first game in their conference tournament.
That's an amazing
So
fact.
if you're a team that's ever lost the
And
first
you
game
call
in your
Tony
tournament,
facts useless. That's a really good one.
Some are pretty good, and some of them are pretty useless. But I'll get into those. But no team has ever won a national title after losing the first game in their conference tournament. I will say this. For example, my Xavier Musketeers played the other day against Marquette. It was a must-win game for them because they're firmly on the bubble. Some teams are playing for seeding, and we saw that with Alabama, of course, over the last couple of weeks, a one seed until about 2 weeks ago. And, of course, they had a really bad week. Then Houston slid in there. Then Florida had their opportunity. Tennessee was also in the mix. And so not necessarily playing for one seeds, but there are several teams, including that 13 and 18 team that'll come out of the Midwest or something that's going to get the automatic bid, which I absolutely love. Is going to have a chance to play. So I hope that we're not downplaying the conference tournaments. I still love the idea that we have.
I like them.
I do think I'd rather hang a banner for being a regular season champion as opposed to a tournament champion. But then you had that super situation with Cooper Flagg the other day where he goes down and wheels off in the wheelchair, and people are saying, hey, wait a minute, do we really need to have these conference tournaments?
What's going to happen
here?
Yeah. In that case, Tony, should, with Cooper Flagg in questionable status at best, should Duke be demoted from the first line? What do you think?
It's happened to the Cincinnati Bearcats. I want to say it was about 10, 12 years ago, and I cannot remember the player. He had an illustrious NBA career.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it myself.
It escapes my mind. They're obviously not a one team without Cooper Flagg. I mean, he's an All-American. He's one of the best basketball players, if not the best basketball player, along with Broome. And so if he's not playing, how do you make them a one seed? Do you take this entire season, the 35, 36 games they played that he did play in, and say, listen, that doesn't mean anything. We let you in.
Well,
but
of course, it goes back to the Florida State
football
football argument.
Well, here's the question. Great point. So without Flagg, what is Duke? Mm-hmm. What seed would you put on them? I'm asking you.
I mean, just resume purposes, but not without their best player. I
Are
think
they even a tournament team?
I think they're they're a tournament team for sure.
Without Flagg?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
He's not a one-man show, but he is the dominant player on the team. So that's really an interesting question. I still think, even if they can justify knocking them off the one seed line, I still think there's going to be stalwarts that say, well, their resume is what's more important than the personnel they have.
Yeah.
And their resume definitely screams that they are a one seed, and if at worst a 2.
All right, I'm going to throw some crazy numbers at you. Are you ready for
Okay.
some of these? This is, we used to do the ones always move forward. Well, you can't do that anymore because a 16's knocked off a 1 now twice. That used to be and so you always like, is a number 2 ever made it to a Final Four? You had these numbers, and you could just use your trend. So I'm going to throw a couple here. Only once have all 4, the top number 1s, made the Final Four.
That's amazing. And so, for you folks out there filling out your bracket who just picked the highest seeded team, that doesn't work. Don't pick. It drives me crazy, Tony. You get in these bracket contests and you look, and about, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them have all 4 1 seeds going to the Final Four. Folks, don't do that. It doesn't happen.
Only twice in the last 10 years has the number 1 overall seed made the Final Four. Not play for the national championship, but the overall number 1, which of course is going to be the Auburn Tigers.
So Auburn, yeah.
And of course, it was only once in 9 years until UConn did it last year as the number 1 overall seed.
And remember, last year, Auburn swept through the SEC tournament, went to the first round of the big tournament, and lost to Yale.
They did, and they were a perfect 11-0 in first-round games until that game last year. They were 8-11 in games after that first-round game. No team has ever, we mentioned this, has ever won a national title after losing its first conference tournament.
That's an amazing stat.
Only 2 champions of the last 20 years did not wear blue.
Uh-oh. I just heard Legend faint over in the cave.
On their uniform.
That
was the 2021.
You need to send them some blue scarves or something. They'd look beautiful with their crimson uniforms.
The Baylor Bears and the 2013 Louisville Cardinals were the only 2 teams that did not wear blue. And something kind of interesting, too, and I know Kai Gregory's going to love this, but Rick Barnes is 1-7 against the spread when he's only had 1 day to prepare for a conference tournament game. And he's 9-21 against the spread overall. I had to find something that was going to be a slam.
Because he has a giant portrait of Rick Barnes in his entry hall.
Exactly. So let me ask you this. So 12, 13 teams. At one point, I think we had 14 teams in, according to Joe Lenardi. Over-under was 12.5. We talked to Keefer, who will join the show a little bit later on with some great stuff, some great picks. Is this something that we can expect every single year now in the SEC? Is 12 the number, about 12 or 13 every single year, until, of course, they bring in Kansas and North Carolina and Duke and everyone else?
That's what Sankey wants to do, to make it the Super Basketball Conference. Of course, that has to do with the fact that the NCAA will not have the television contract forever, and that's $1 billion+ bonanza. So Sankey's going, excellent. The SEC is going to be front in line for that. But yeah, I think, Tony, I don't see a big fallback anytime soon because the SEC schools, which historically have been so football dominated, now understand that basketball is another promised land. It's like you've got one opulent mansion. Why not get 2?
If I've got $1 million and I'm a booster at UAB, Auburn, Alabama, wherever, I got $1 million and I want to make an impact right now. Am I spending $1 million on 105 guys in the football team, or I'm going to spend $1 million on the 9 or 11 guys I got on the basketball court?
You only need 2 or 3 really key pieces in basketball to make your team go from good to exceptional. And football, you need a whole lot more than that because, with 22 guys on the field instead of 10, I mean, just do the math. And in football, the investment is considerable, and basketball, it may be every bit as lucrative, so I can see where Sankey's coming from.
UConn has won back-to-back championships. You remember?
I was there last year.
You remember the team that did it last time, won back-to-back championships?
I knew this.
Florida Gators.
Oh, that's right, with Billy Donovan.
2006, 2007.
And they won the football national championship one of those years as well. That's when Florida was good at sports, folks.
They're pretty good this year. Can you name the team?
In basketball.
Can you name the team before Florida that won back-to-back championships?
Gosh, I don't know. Does it go all the way back to UCLA?
It goes back to Duke in 91 and 92.
Oh, okay, yeah, because one of those was the huge upset over a team that people didn't think could be beat, UNLV, and then they did follow up the next year and win it again. So that's great. And of course, the John Wooden era in the 60s, UCLA won, 7 in a row?
7 in a row in the 70s,
That's insane.
I don't think we'll ever see anything. Well, I'd say we wouldn't see anything like that again, but if some guys throw it around 50 or 60 grand every time you get a chance to bring yourself in a great blue chipper as a basketball fan. Anyway, I don't remember being this excited about March Madness ever, not only because it seems like all of my favorite teams are doing really well, but because the SEC is having such an illustrious year. So kudos to Greg Sank and everyone making the SEC, because I can just remember 10 years ago, basketball was an afterthought. I mean, it was something like, okay, we didn't win a championship in football. Let's go watch hoops. Because I mean, it seemed like Auburn and Alabama were always in the bubble. Now it's nice to know that they're actually playing for seeding and not to play if they're going to make it.
And I said it last week on this show. We watched them play last Saturday down in Auburn. That game was. I watched some of the first round games on Wednesday night in the SEC, which were slog fests, turnovers, mistakes, missed shots. The Alabama-Auburn game was a track meet from the time they threw the ball up to the time it ended with the Mark Sears floater. That was about as entertaining of quality of basketball as you could possibly get. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again. In my mind, and I'm not biased on this, I am an SEC homer, but I'm just telling you, Alabama and Auburn are the two most talented basketball teams in the country, bar none. I don't care about Duke or Houston or anybody else. These are the two best teams, and it would be amazing if they can get to the finals.
We're going to the Legend Cave here in the next 15, 20 minutes. Case Keefer, his red-hot smoking picks from the desert out in Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Sun is where he works. And, of course, you can check out all of our picks. If you miss any here on the show in the starting lineup, go to K4wins.com. K4wins.com. Free site. We got some readings there. We'll give you some blogs. And, of course, we'll also give you some big plays here for March Madness throughout the entire season. All of our plays change every single day. This is the starting lineup.
The charge of the spinning number, the excitement of the sound, and the thrill of the win. Playing casino games is something everyone should experience. Everyone has a chance of winning. But did you know you have a chance at winning big jackpots? Even former pro football player Icky Woods loves the excitement of possibly winning big.
And you can be a winner too!
Only at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino and Victoryland Casino.
Oh, welcome to the Legend Cave. I am the legend from the Paul Feinbaum Show. And here in the Legend Cave on Selection Saturday, I was just talking to Bear this morning and telling Bear the SEC tournament is going on, but I am already focused on the big dance. Hey, I don't really care about the SEC tournament. Who wins it? I don't care. I'm all about the big dance, baby. And me and Bear was talking this morning, what kind of chance does Alabama have? And I told Bear from the bottom of my heart, Bear, from the bottom of my heart, I feel this is the best Alabama basketball team, talent-wise, that I have ever seen, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking better than Derek McKee. I'm talking better than Bobby Lee Hurt team with Enos Watley. I'm talking better than James Robinson and Derek McKee and Robert Horry, Buck Johnson, T.R. Dunn. I'm talking about the best of all time, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, you think I'm crazy because I talk to a statue every morning here in the Legend Cave. But the psychiatrist told me I'm sports insane, but in real life, I'm okay. So keep that in mind while you listen to me. When I leave here, I transform back to a normal person. But here in the Legend Cave, it's madness. It's insanity. I'm spitting, ladies and gentlemen. I'm spitting. I'm excited about this big dance and Alabama's chances. Let me answer a few questions that's been sent in about the tournament. Bertha in Kentucky wants to know, what chance does the Kentucky Wildcats have in the big dance? Well, the ceiling for this team is the Sweet 16. Bertha, I don't see much more than a Sweet 16 team here with Pope's team. I just don't see it. I think the Sweet 16 is the ceiling. Billy Bob down in Auburn wants to know about the Auburn Tigers. Well, Billy Bob, I hate to tell you, but we seen it last Saturday when Mark Sears, did you see Mark Sears, Cal Collins? Did you see Mark Sears, Cal Collins? I told you he was going to come alive. I told you Grant Nelson had it in him. We seen last week that Chad Baker Lasagna just snapped. I told you this is the weakness of the Auburn team. You can get under their skin, and when you get under their skin, you change them into a different team. You've seen it with Alabama. I see Auburn getting upset. The Legends called it, Bear, Buddy Ballard, Keefer, and Tourney. All right, I'm calling it. Auburn goes down before the Elite Eight. And before I get out of here, I don't know if y'all seen it, but oh, Keon Russell, baby. Keon Russell in the spring day. Yeah, he is that man. There is a new great quarterback at the University of Alabama, Keon Russell. The glory days, you hear it, Bear? The glory days are coming back. Remember, it's just a game. Don't be like Legend. The psychiatrists say, I'm sports insane.
Sponsor Southern Precision Staffing, Kai Gregory, went 9-0.
And
one
humiliated
Saturday.
the host.
Yeah, you so humiliated us, man. We had to go like 14-2 just to keep up with this guy. Anyway, he's going to join us on the show next Saturday right here on the starting lineup. By then, we'll have all the brackets. We'll have a couple of rounds under our belts. We'll know exactly what's going on. It's going to be a fantastic game. He'll join Southern Precision Staffing for all your staffing needs, construction or anything else. 205-682-2828. 205-682-2828. Where your word and your handshake still means something. They're right here in Hoover, Alabama, serving the United States of America, just like the starting lineup is. It's Southern Precision Staffing. Also, our good friends at Spy for Rent, they have been super busy. We had Corey on the show a couple times. Their business is going through the roof. They work with all kinds of great lawyers and great attorneys, not to mention judges and everything else. They do surveillance, they do bug sweeps, they do background checks, employment, they do drug screenings, they do everything. And yes, their spies and PIs are the best in the business. Go check them out. Spy for Rent, spyforrent.com, spyforrent.com. They do fantastic work. Speaking, of course, of Kai, we have our great show called K4 Wins, which is doing fantastic.
K4 Wins is amazing. It's Tony and myself, Kai, who we just mentioned, and Case Keefer out in the desert. We kind of are consultants with one another and come up with a slate of games against the spread every single day in the NBA, in college basketball, in hockey, and of course football, not that far down the pike. No. But it's your best source anywhere. We are just under 70% against the spread, Tony. That's ridiculous.
I know, it's kind of crazy, and normally, you know, I like to play games. I feel like if I play our games, I'm going to, jinx us, and it's actually not. It doesn't matter. I mean, we're so hot, it doesn't matter what I'm playing, because people are like, "Are you playing your own games?" Because several people have gone to K4wins.com. They're like, "Are you playing your own games? Because you should be smoking hot." I'm like, "Yeah." Just in time for March Madness, we got ourselves a little coffer of cash, and we're ready to go. And of course, spring games, whatever you want to call
those. And that
those.
show usually drops on a Friday afternoon. But this week, because of the NCAA tournament, we want to make sure that everybody knows that we are going to do a special edition of that show that will be up and running Tuesday afternoon. So before you fill out your brackets, this is must-hear radio. If you're tired of, again, losing to Lucy in accounting or the guy works on down on the loading dock, this is your chance to get really top-flight information before you submit your bracket. Tune in, TKR. Tell them how to download the app.
Yeah, just get the TKR app. You can do it through Apple or go through Google. It's classic rock on weekends, and we've got 18 different shows, including Need to Know, the Keefer and Curry Show, K4 Wins. We do stuff with the Heart of Alabama Food Bank. We do wonderful shows with Leonard Skinner and more stuff. TKR. TKR stands for Tony Curry Radio, or go search Tony Curry Radio Podcast, and you can see all of our shows that we do.
And you and I are going to be chomping at the bit on Monday, where we normally do Keefer and Curry. Let's do a bracket show, just me and you, to start the week.
Let's do it. We'll do it. Check out TKR and watch us right here in the starting lineup.
The charge of the spinning numbers, the excitement of the sound, and the thrill of the win. Playing casino games is something everyone should experience. Everyone has a chance of winning. But did you know you have a chance at winning big jackpots? Even former pro football player Icky Woods loves the excitement of possibly winning big.
Woo! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Only at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino and Victoryland Casino.
Hey, it's Case Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters as part of the starting lineup. I know all this week is about college basketball, March Madness in full effect, but hey, we have got a good thing going here, so I'm going to try to touch on college basketball at the end, but I didn't think we should switch up the format here, do a little golf, a little auto racing, and a little college basketball, especially golf. This is what we have been working towards for the last month on here. I've been giving out Players Championships outrights. Now we are at the Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass. I know we're now 2 rounds in. I'm recording slightly before the first tee time, so I don't know exactly what happened, but all I know is the first outright I gave out aged wonderfully. Russell Henley at 60-1, who I have been saying is one of the best players in the world and not being priced like it. He's going to be priced like it now. Wins the Arnold Palmer last week. I don't think I said to take him explicitly, but we've talked about him every week in the segment, so you know I was on him. I hope you got on him too. He's going off at as low as 20-1 now in the Players Championship. He probably still doesn't win, but hey, we made that 60-1 and got 20-1. If you're making bets like that long term, you are going to be a winner. You're going to make a lot of money. So obviously that is the headliner, but also on the show I give out Tommy Fleetwood 31-1. Another one that's aged pretty well. He's gone off more around 25-1. Still like him in this tournament. We did have one stinker, Davis Thompson at 80-1. The young gun has kind of lost his way. Hasn't been good in the 3 weeks since we gave it out. I think he could be as high as like 150, 160-1 now. But hey, you can't hit them all. I'm sick of hitting every tournament and not mentioning the guys here. I think I've hit 4 PGA Tour outrights already. I've mentioned a lot of the guys, but not this week. So I'm just going to give you my whole card, and hopefully here on Saturday, if some of these guys are in contention, you can jump on them. There's so many ways to live bet golf. Now, I did bet 9 outrights this week, which is a little bit more than usual for me. But like I said, Players Championship, it is so unpredictable. I want to take the long shots. That's mostly what I did. However, I did take one favorite at the top of the board, but I got a great price on him before he really crashed. Colin Morikawa at 18-1 is where I started my card. If we were just having a draft of the Players Championship, I guess you've got to take Scotty Scheffler first because he's won 2 out of the last 3, but I really think Morikawa's game is perfect for this. He's playing better than anyone, probably the 3rd best player in the world right now. 18-1 was too high for me. If he's in contention, I do not mind a live bet on him. I then went to Hideki Matsuyama at 30-1, who has played wonderfully here. However, course history year to year, not really a thing here. You could get higher on him. I probably pulled the trigger a little too quickly on that. So 30-1 on Hideki. I don't love it, don't hate it, but that's another guy I bet. Another guy we've talked about a lot has come through for us, won this year. Another Georgia guy, Sepp Straka, I took at 55-1 when prices opened up. He's a guy I love here. I think is going to be great. Getting into the longer shots, I went Aaron Rai at 90-1. Really another European guy whose I think game really sets up well on this course. So look out for him if he's still in it. The last guy I took really long shot, Doug Gim, 180-1. I don't think I mentioned that one on the show. I don't know if I love it. He's played well here. Does really have the irons games that should match up. So look for some of those guys. Bottom line, I just thought I'd talk a little bit. I like talking about some of those process things and coming through. That's going to be the golf rundown. As for NASCAR, well, I should have stick with what I said 2 weeks ago. I said bet Christopher Bell at Coda, bet Christopher Bell at Phoenix. He should win both races, and what do you know? He wins both races. However, I can only take credit for Coda ultimately because I did say that was a play on the show. We cashed that. I backed up a little bit last week on Phoenix. His odds were just so low, 4-1. I guess I should have stuck with my gut and still bet it. But actually, no, I just said this was about process. I think long term, you're just not going to win betting drivers 4-1 to win NASCAR races, which brings us to this week in Las Vegas, where just like Christopher Bell in Phoenix, there is a clear favorite here. Kyle Larson dominates this track. It's becoming more higher tire wear, which I think plays right into Larson's hands. He is by far the most likely winner, but he's mostly like plus 350. I just can't quite bet that, even though I do think he's the most likely winner. Maybe he has some problems in qualifying and practice. You get a little bit higher. If I could get 5-1 or higher, I would go on Kyle Larson, but plus 350, a little too short for me. So where did I go? I've only made one bet at the time of recording. I went with his teammate William Byron, who's sneakily, quietly been just as fast as him on this track. I got 8-1. I know he's plus 750. Most places, that's fine too. I would take Byron all the way to 7-1. That is the one outright I have so far. I hope you check out my Sunday Sweats column on LasVegasSun.com. This is the biggest NASCAR bet race of the year, at least here in Las Vegas. It brings so many people into town. I know we have another one, but it's during football season. There's a lot going on. There's just hundreds of betting options. This is like the Super Bowl of NASCAR, so there's so much to bet. I usually give out one play on LasVegasSun.com. I'll probably bump it up to 2 this week, but William Byron, a good chance to be one of them. It's like, as if we don't have enough going on with all the college basketball. I'm running on fumes here, not sleeping a whole lot. I've handicapped every single game of every single conference tournament. We've had 5 conference tournaments here in Las Vegas. I know we're going to have 3 finals tonight. It's hard for me to talk about it because I don't know the exact matchup, but we got the Big West, the WAC, and one more, the Mountain West, of course. Just some general thoughts, I would say, in the Big West. I like the underdog. Whoever the underdog is, I think I'm going to be taking points in this conference. Everyone talks about UC San Diego. They have been amazing. I'd love to see them in the tournament either way. But if this is chalky and they're playing UC Irvine tonight, I think that this is a lot closer game than the line would be. I would be tempted to take the points of UC Irvine, but I don't even know if they're both going to get there. I think the other teams in this conference are really good and playing better than people realize too. Northridge, Riverside. I think there's going to be an upset somewhere, and I wouldn't mind taking the points one last time. In the Big West from the Lee's Family Forum right down the street. here in Henderson tonight. Mountain West will be at Thomas and Mack earlier in the day. I could set myself up for failure here if neither team is here, but I like whoever's going to be from probably the top half of the bracket more than the bottom side of the bracket. Colorado State's the real trendy pick. They finished the season really hot, but they do have some flaws. They're kind of up and down. They're so reliant on one heliocentric player and Nick Clifford. I like Boise State or New Mexico if they come from the top of that bracket. I do think New Mexico is the most talented team in the league. I kind of like Boise as a sleeper, though. San Diego State could ruin all this, though, if they play up to their potential. I just like whoever's in the top half, I'm probably going to like over the bottom half. Kind of hard to talk about these college basketball matchups, but that's what we've got. Welcome to March Madness. Hopefully you got some golf winners, some NASCAR winners, and some college basketball winners. Thanks for checking out another edition of the Vegas Heaters.
It is Selection Saturday. You got your Selection Sunday tomorrow. Selection Saturday.
I love the Selection Sunday Tony show. I've watched it probably. It's the one show every year I never ever miss. I love the reveal of all the tournaments.
Do you like it though, the fact that you got these Jerry Palms and these Lenardis of the world that basically nail it?
I like the suspense better in the old days.
I do too. I mean, I actually like to know where some of those bubble teams are because, I mean, you may have one or two. I liked it when 4 or 5 different teams you didn't know. They changed the parameters a little bit, but pretty much those guys are, I mean, that's why they get paid the big bucks right there.
Well, if I'm on that committee, the first thing I say in the first meeting, screw Lenardi. Let's pick some different teams.
No doubt.
Here's Lenardi's picks. Let's go against. We got to make this guy look bad.
Maybe 8 to 10 more teams for sure. That's about 99%. That's going to happen next year. I've talked to Mark Ingram, the UAB athletic director, and of course he would certainly like to see expanded like a lot of people. But they're talking about doubling the field over the next 2 to 3 years.
Amazing.
Well, and people are like, that's too many. It's not. It's one more week, and if all the major sports, you have the least amount of teams, percentage-wise, that make postseason play. Hell, the NHL, you can have a losing record. NBA, you got a losing record.
You would have to allocate 2 days to fill it.
And people are like, I don't want a team with a losing record making the big dance. You already got that. You already get teams that are 13 and 18 making the big dance, and the more the merrier. I mean, you got more fan bases that can enjoy the entire college basketball season. You got more chances for a 16-1 seed, something like that. So, yeah, I'm all about it. But what a great time of the season for college. But I always go through college football and go, nothing gets better than this. And then it's March Madness, and I'm like, this is pretty good too.
Being Saturday, of course, we cannot help you right now with the tournament bracket because that doesn't happen till tomorrow afternoon. But we're going to have a couple special programs on TKR, Tony Curry Radio. Tony and I do a show every Monday called Keefer and Curry. That's very original. If you've liked our banter today, you'll love Keefer and Curry. We get into all kinds of things. We're going to talk NCAA tournament on Monday, and a special edition of our betting show, K4, will be up and running on Tuesday on TKR, where all of our experts, including Tony, myself, Kai Gregory, and Case Keefer, will break down your brackets and give you the edge in your office bracket competitions.
With 1 minute to go, remember, it's better to be smart and win cash than be brilliant and pick a 16/1 seed and everyone celebrates you for 1 hour and then it's over and then you lose money. I mean, you're better off to go chalk. I know someone said if you always take the higher seed, you'd probably be in the top 10% of all the things. But it is fun to pick those upsets because you know if 15 is going to get through. I think every year but one, we've had a play-in game winner win a second-round match. So you know one of those 16 seeds are going to make it through. So pretty exciting stuff.
Real quick hint. In games with a 5 seed against a 12, for all time, that is about a 500 deal. There's no explanation for it, but the 12 seed beats the 5 about half the time. And 7-10 games are really dangerous as well. The 10 seed tends to knock off the 17 seed a high percentage of the time. So just a couple little extra facts.
Your percentage is 100%. We'll be back next Saturday morning right here on ABC 33.
That's 100%.
Starting lineup.
We've really got a lineup this year and a group of stars that's going to take it to the next level.
I'm Terry Quillian, and I'll be in the starting lineup every Saturday morning with my hot take of the week.
I'm the legend from the Paul Feinbaum Show, and I'm in the starting lineup.
Hey, guess I'm Case Keefer, and I'm part of the starting lineup. Make sure to check out my college picks each week on all of our starting lineup programs.
So make sure each week you're in the starting lineup. The starting lineup, 10:30 to 11 on ABC 3340 every Saturday morning.